Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news as we dive into the latest developments surrounding the Detroit Lions. It's impossible not to feel the buzz in the air. The Lions, a team that's been steadily ascending over the past few seasons, are now facing a new challenge that could have serious implications for their playoff aspirations and their quest for a Super Bowl trophy. And no, it's not just about their upcoming schedule or their key matchups. This is about something much more pressing: injuries in their pass rush, a problem that has haunted them for years, but has recently become even more critical. You see, the Lions entered the season with high expectations. After a remarkable 2022 campaign, finishing with a 9-8 record and narrowly missing the playoffs, Detroit was seen as a team on the cusp of greatness. Their defense showed flashes of brilliance, especially their pass rush, which has historically been a strength for them. Aiden Hutchinson, their star edge rusher, has been the centerpiece of that unit, a player who's not only talented, but also embodies that relentless Detroit grit. Last season, Hutchinson was a force, racking up sacks and pressure on quarterbacks that helped tilt the field in Detroit's favor. But as we all know, NFL seasons are often marred by injuries, and the Lions have unfortunately been no strangers to that reality. Last year, Hutchinson himself faced setbacks, and now, just 3 weeks into the current season, the team is dealing with another blow to their pass rush. That blow came in the form of Marcus Davenport, a significant addition in the offseason, brought in to bolster the edge rushing unit. Davenport had shown promise during the preseason and was expected to be a key piece in the Lions' defense. But fate had other plans. Davenport has already been placed on injured reserve, meaning he's officially out for an extended period, and that leaves the Lions with a serious gap on their defensive front. This injury situation is especially troubling because it exposes a vulnerability that Detroit has been trying to address for a while. They already had Hutchinson anchoring the pass rush, but behind him, the depth is quite thin. The team was counting on Davenport to provide that much-needed support, to spell Hutchinson when needed, and to bring that extra pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Now, with Davenport sidelined, the Lions are left to rely more heavily on Alquadin Mohammed, who has been serviceable but not quite the dominant force that Detroit needs to truly compete at the highest level. This situation has sparked a lot of conversation among fans, analysts, and insiders about what the Lions might do next. And interestingly, there's buzz about the possibility of the Lions making a bold move at or before the trade deadline. With the NFC North tight and the Lions aiming to establish themselves as serious contenders, acquiring an elite pass rusher could be the missing piece that helps them leapfrog division rivals and set their sights on another deep playoff run. Now, one of the names that's being floated around as a potential target is Trey Hendrickson, currently with the Cincinnati Bengals. As many of you know, the Bengals have been hit hard by injuries this season, especially on the defensive front. Joe Burrow's injury has been the biggest story, but their pass rush has also taken a hit. Nick Bost, a key player for them, tore his ACL and is out for the season, leaving a gap in their defensive line. This situation might create an opportunity for the Lions to pounce, especially considering that Hendrickson is viewed as one of the top edge rushers available on the trade market. What makes Hendrickson particularly attractive is that he's not just a one-year rental. At 29 years old, he's an established player who's been a consistent force for Cincinnati. The Bengals, however, seem to be in a bit of a bind. With Burrow out for at least 3 months, they're likely to reassess their approach, whether to rebuild, retool, or try to make a push with their current roster. But the reality is, without Burrow leading their offense, their chances of competing for a division title or a playoff spot diminish significantly. That might make Hendrickson available at a reasonable price, especially if Cincinnati is looking to rebuild for the future. According to reports from The Athletic's Diana Rossini, the Bengals were interested in a first-round pick in 2026, and a young defensive player in exchange for Hendrickson. While that's a substantial price, the team's current predicament might force them to accept a deal that makes sense for Detroit. The Lions, always aggressive and willing to make bold moves, could see Hendrickson as a perfect fit, especially since he's experienced, productive, and fits their defensive scheme well. But Hendrickson isn't the only option on the table. There's also talk about the Lions exploring other pass rushers, including Jalen Phillips from the Miami Dolphins. Phillips is a young, talented pass rusher with a lot of promise. At just 26 years old, he's entering what should be his prime years, and teams are always interested in players with that kind of long-term potential. The Dolphins might be open to moving him at the deadline if they believe they can get good value, and if they're looking to rebuild or retool their roster. What makes Phillips particularly appealing is his age and potential. While Hendrickson might be viewed as a one-year rental, Phillips could be a long-term piece for Detroit if he can return to his pre-injury form. The Dolphins, aware of his potential and the fact that he's scheduled to be a free agent in 2026, might be willing to part ways if the price is right. That would be a significant boost for Detroit, addressing a key need for the rest of the season and beyond. Now, despite these trade rumors and potential targets, the Lions are not just sitting back and waiting for reinforcements to arrive. They showed resilience in their previous game after placing Davenport on injured reserve. Against the Baltimore Ravens, Detroit's defense was relentless, sacking Lamar Jackson 7 times and constantly pressuring him throughout the game. That effort helped secure a crucial 38-31 victory and demonstrated that, even without a fully healthy pass rush, they can still compete at a high level. This game was a testament to the depth and resilience of the team. Al-Quadin Mohammed stepped up big, taking on a larger role and making key plays. The coaching staff, led by Dan Campbell, remains optimistic about the team's depth. When asked about Davenport's injury, Campbell said that they don't expect it to be season-ending and that they're still evaluating whether he might return this season. That's a promising sign, especially considering how important Davenport was supposed to be for their pass rush. Campbell's approach has always been about trusting the players they have and developing that depth. He emphasized that they're confident in the talent on their roster, and that's especially true when you look at Mohammed's performance. The Lions have shown they're capable of overcoming adversity, but the injury to Davenport highlights how thin their pass rush could be moving forward. That's why the trade deadline looms large, and why fans should be paying close attention to what moves the team might make in the coming weeks. Looking at the bigger picture, the Lions' current roster has a lot of promising pieces, but their success still hinges on that pass rush, something that's been a bit of a roller coaster over the past few seasons. The team has invested heavily in their defensive front, and while Hutchinson has been fantastic, they need more consistency from their other edge rushers to truly take the next step. The potential addition of a player like Hendrickson or Phillips could be the catalyst that pushes Detroit from a good team to a great one, especially if those players can bring their talent and experience to the table. And let's not forget, the Lions are also playing with a lot of confidence this season. Jared Goff is leading an offense that's capable of putting up big numbers, and the defense, despite some injuries, has shown flashes of dominance. But as every NFL fan knows, the playoffs are won with a relentless pass rush, those game-changing sacks and pressures that can swing momentum in an instant. That's why Detroit's front office is probably watching the trade market very carefully, looking for that missing piece to put them over the top. In terms of expectations, Lions fans are right to feel optimistic but also cautious. The NFC North has always been competitive, especially with teams like the Minnesota Vikings and Green Bay Packers vying for supremacy. But Detroit has been building something special, and with a few strategic moves, they could cement their status as serious contenders. Remember, this team is still young, talented, and hungry. They've demonstrated resilience and a willingness to adapt, which is exactly what you want in a team chasing a Super Bowl. So, as we look ahead to the coming weeks in the trade deadline, keep a close eye on Detroit's moves. Will they pull the trigger on a high-impact edge rusher? Will they explore other options, maybe even looking at some surprise targets? The possibilities are exciting, and the Lions' front office has a reputation for making bold decisions when it counts. Fans of Detroit should be optimistic, but also strategic in their expectations, because the team is clearly thinking big. And as we wrap up, remember that this season is still very much in its early stages, but the stakes are already high. The Lions have shown they can compete without some of their key players, but to truly make a deep playoff run, they'll need that extra edge, literally coming from their pass rush. The injury to Davenport is a setback, but it might also be the catalyst for a big trade that propels Detroit even further into the postseason. The energy, the talent, and the hunger are all there. Now it's just about making the right moves at the right time. And now, Detroit Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Detroit Lions. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Detroit Lions news.